Hello everyone, we're back. We're back for some more T.rex Time Machine. And this story has me... what's the word I would use? Not hooked, but I am determined to finish it. And if you can join us, then I am very happy to have you here along for the ride. It actually is so much better with the audience because it helps guide the story in ways that I didn't necessarily think of myself. There's been loads of fun in coming up with the directions that we take the story, and generally it's been a lot better than you'd think an ebook would be, a choose your own adventure book would be. So that's thanks to the audience participation. If you are watching this on playback, then yeah, sorry you can't take part. Maybe next time. Maybe there'll be another audiobook that I could do. But yeah, so for anyone that is joining in this session live now, if anyone is just joining in this story for the first time, catching it live, then just to fill you in, so we invented a time machine. We got kicked out of university because someone else plagiarized our work and then blamed us, and the university took their side. We went back in time nonetheless because we had the ability to make a time machine. We landed in the Cretaceous. We killed a load of pterosaurs accidentally, and then swiftly moved on. We went looking for more adventure and managed to find a load of hadrosaurs that we just kind of looked at. A baby hadrosaur tried to get us to adopt it, but we said no, rightfully so. We don't want a baby hadrosaur. And the mother hadrosaur, well, I wasn't too happy. And otherwise, it was a pretty chilled out, session. Makes me wonder what would have happened if we would have taken some of the other options. Like if we'd tried to adopt this hadrosaur, would that have gone very different? Probably. It might have had some big action sequence or something. But no, we did the right thing. We're there collecting evidence, we're there collecting data, and that's what you do if you go back in time. So we are into chapter 3. I don't know what it will be like. I don't know what kind of thing's going to happen. I'm sure a T-Rex is going to have to turn up at some point. But it would be good if anyone's about, just to make sure that everything's sounding all okay, because there's not really any point if the audio isn't working. So if you are watching, give us a thumbs up if it all sounds good. Otherwise, I am just going to get started, I think. So, Chapter 3, Unexpected Visitors. The day began remarkably well before your worldview turned upside down. You woke after a sound sleep feeling rested and refreshed. While sipping his first cup of coffee, Brett focused on your business. Your bruises, scrapes and gashes. How did you respond? I took care of it myself. I need the first aid practice, and I prize self-reliance. I agreed immediately. He's the expert, and it's safer to have him treat it. I reluctantly let him examine me to make him feel better. Everything sounds good to me. Hi, Tiny. Tiny Elven Mitten. That sounds cute. Yeah. So, again, we have this strange relationship with Brett and first aid. I think this is like, what, our third or fourth time that we've been asked to, guide how we get first aid from Brett. I mean, he's better at it, apparently, so I don't think I'd be one that was like, nah, I've got to do it myself, even if I can't do it well. So, yeah, I think we shall just let him do it. Maybe it'll build the relationship as well. When Brett broached the subject, you said, I'd feel tons better if you'd take a look. Your friend pulled out a first aid kit. After unwinding the bandage, you looked away while Brett cleaned and treated your injury. He was satisfied with your healing, pronouncing the itching to be a good sign. Keep it dry and clean. Stagnant swamp water won't do the body any favours. And take this. You gulped the pain reliever that he doled out, supplementing it with an antibiotic. I wonder how many antibiotics we've got. Yep, I agree as well. Number 2 was the best option there. With your eyes peeled for whatever might come your way, you and Brett headed off, driving through progressively drier terrain, filled with gigantic trees, spiky-leafed undergrowth, and a few detours, generally following a river downstream in search of marvels. The occasional cries of pterosaurs came from somewhere high above the interlaced canopy. They were the sole indication of large creatures, as the forest floor showed a dearth of paw prints or other evidence. I'm really the worst person to be narrating this. I've got dyslexia or something, so it makes reading really, really difficult. Now it's mid-morning. You stop to refuel the Land Rover and refill your water jugs in the swift current. You hear a familiar humming and whirring. Is this even possible? You swear it must be your imagination, except that Brett also detects the distinctive tones. He holds up a hand and points towards a grove of stout ginkgo trees a short distance from the river. It sounds nothing like rushing water, nor like any Cretaceous creature. No, this is the hum of civilization, the whir of a machine, and not just any machine, but the unmistakable sound produced by a device that you would recognise anywhere. You set your water jugs in the Land Rover before approaching the grove quietly on foot. Thankfully, you have the presence of mind to switch on your GoPro, which is clipped to your helmet. The thick trunks of the ginkgos and the dense leafy canopy darken the ground, making it difficult to see. You pause to turn on your microphone and say a few words, noting the time, date, and your location before pointing it so as to better capture the hums and whirs. Can you hear that little hum that we just got in the background? That's so subtle. The noise grows more insistent, raising in pitch. You draw closer. Brett's right behind you. Peering around a massive tree trunk, you behold and film a break in the forest where something large and rectangular shimmers, struggling to gain solidly in the middle of a sunlit game trail. Its arrow-straight sides gleam metallic. No, this can't be anything found in nature. There comes a silver flash and a rumble like thunder, with a whiff of ozone. An RV bursts into view. An RV? Like a camper van? Okay. You gape in astonishment. The RV, jacked up on oversized wheels, looks familiar, though you can't quite place it. Great googly moogly, this is impossible. I think I know who that is. Yeah, I know, right? We got new neighbours. Brett makes an impatient gesture. Shall we say hello to the new neighbours? Well, you probably would. But, you sputter. Time travel can't work this way. There are no time windows 2 days after we left. At Brett's puzzled look, you explain. Nothing can arrive here 2 days later than we did. Believe me, I searched very thoroughly for any conceivable date this whole year. He looks dubious. You glance at your phone. Besides, it's 10:42 a.m, not noon. What's going on? What if this time machine started out from different geographical coordinates than ours? You shake your head. Of course, its precise latitude and longitude must be different from the coordinates of our time machine. This RV couldn't have come from my parents' garage. Wouldn't even fit in it. But the date and times when it departed from the present and arrived here have got to be identical to ours. That's the constraint imposed by the temporal equations. That's the whole reason why they're called time windows. With a shrug, your friend says, well, maybe there's a fudge factor or a hidden window. Can't be. The equations I derive can be solved only for a scant 3 time windows per year, no more. Nonetheless, you turn that notion over in your head. Could you have overlooked a 4th window? Or even more? You shake your head, recalling your diligent searches. Maybe the RV took off a year or 3 after us. Then it would get here a year or 3 later as well, you reply. The precise length of a temporal journey can't be altered willy-nilly. Well, so it has to be precisely 65 million years. You think back on the readouts since your own trip began, knowing that you could have paid more attention to them, wondering what you overlooked or misinterpreted. The answers must lie inside that recreational vehicle. As you think it over, I'm excited to pick the brain of whoever's operating this time machine. My figures looked correct until now. I'm eager to solve this puzzle on my own. Although my equations got us here, I need the newcomers to clue me in for safety's sake. My calculations may not be perfect, but they got me here. I'll continue to rely on them. Right. Oh no! That's such a weird rule. Yeah, it is a weird rule. I don't really understand why it has to be that way. But, you know, this is not a story I've written. Let's find out what's going on. Have some more music. So, if some other time travelers have turned up, and I don't think it's possible, then perhaps... I mean, do we want to ask them? I mean, I definitely would be like, who are you? How did you figure this out? Like, what's going on? I don't think I'd be so... I don't know what the word is, like, precious as to sort it out for myself, like to be like, no, I have to solve this mystery out using my own brain, I can't rely on anyone else. So I think maybe, yeah, number 3, I agree. Number 3. You're wincing at the thought of having come 65 million years on the basis of a faulty preconception or even an out-and-out mistake. Before you take Brett back home, it's imperative to get things squared away. Your top priority needs to be working with whoever is inside that RV to boost your understanding of the theory underpinning time travel, as well as its practical application. You can hardly wait for the door to open. Before you've had a chance to absorb this new worldview, the RV's humming winds down and cuts off. After a few seconds of silence, the familiar rustles and chirps of the forest resume. They've made a nicer job of the landing than we did, Brett says. You grimace, don't remind me. After we landed on 3 pterosaurs? 2 pterosaurs? Killed them both. The driver's side door swings open and a lanky masculine form hops out. The cocky swagger looks familiar, though his back is turned to you. He's wearing a familiar t-shirt in your former school's colours, its name arching across his shoulder blades. The man hoots, spreads his arm wide and spins around, the archaic sunlight catching his golden hair, an enormous grin on his face. It's Darian Vance! Who would have guessed? You blink in astonishment. Your throat constricts as you behold your nemesis, Darian Vance, complete with the same supercilious grin. Supercilious, there's a new word. And the same world is his oyster manner that you last saw in Dean Mean's office. Everything falls into place. That bad man not only stole your proof of concept for time travel, but he also used your plans, all your hard work, to build his own time machine. Clutching the microphone in one fist, a fist that you'd rather use to deck him, you mutter, "Vance, you scum-sucking poo brain. May you get pecked to death by a pack of rabid troodontids." No, that'd be too good for you. Brett holds up a finger to his lips and motions you to keep watching. In Vance's hand is a bottle of Dom Perignon champagne. "Come on out," he shouts. Did he hear you? You glance back the way you came, judging the distance to your Land Rover, tensing to sprint, your pulse already racing. Brett places a steadying hand on your shoulder. With a small shake of his head, you realise that Vance isn't looking in your direction. "Bring the glasses," Vance says to someone in the RV. Now you know why the RV is so familiar. It's the one that you remember being parked in Vance's driveway. Meanwhile, he unwraps the foil on the champagne bottle and twists the wire cage securing the cork, while humming the refrain from Steppenwolf's Magic Carpet Ride. The passenger's door opens, and out steps a second time traveller. Another familiar face, this one from the university's engineering school. With a couple of tentative steps, Skylar steps foot on the Cretaceous moss, video camera perched on one shoulder, strapped securely in place and trained on Vance. Skylar points a microphone at Vance, who pops the champagne cork. It flies off and vanishes amid the primeval lichens. Wide-eyed, gawking Skylar, tool belt dangling from one hip, is a young man or a young woman. Have we not already determined that? Does it matter what they are? Are they a man or a woman? Because I think I remember we came across Skylar at the start, and they helped us up from the mud, I think, when we fell over and we were rushing to get to school, to university to have that meeting. Don't know which to pick. I don't know which to pick either. Let's have them be a young woman and see if there's any interesting dynamics that develop there between them and Darian Vance. Skylar's attention is focused less on Vance or her immediate surroundings than on the rear roof of the RV, where familiar-looking equipment pokes up. Telltale lights betray the presence of their time travel device. As an engineer who evidently knows her way around a time machine, Skylar must be the one who figured out the trick in arriving this morning. Then it hits you. Vance didn't even build his own time machine. You whisper to Brett. No way. That top 1%er wouldn't dream of putting in any work. Don't you see? After he stole my notes and schematics, he co-opted Skylar. That's who converted his RV into a time machine. Figures. Brett gives you a look filled with sympathy. We'll find a way to... He trails off into uncertainty. Bravo! Comes another shout as the RV's backside door swings open. It's Casey, the paleontology grad student who had impressed you. With the stems of 3 champagne flutes held between the fingers of one hand, Casey's gaze slowly sweeps all around, forcing you to duck back behind the ginkgo. Casey is a pot-bellied young man, or a plump young woman. Oh dear. Yes we did, hee. Then I guess Casey can be a dude. You grudgingly admit that it's good to have a paleontologist here. One who probably knows his way around wild animals and can maybe even predict where to find various dinosaurs. He ought to have a decent sense of which ones are most likely to pose an immediate threat. Well, you'd think that you'd be able to do that as well, wouldn't you? I mean, theropod, threat. Giant herbivore, probably threat as well. Pterosaur flying miles in the sky, probably not as much as a threat. You continue to watch and film. Vance pours the champagne, raising a glass high. Casey shouts, "To Darian Vance, who brought us to the late Cretaceous. Well done!" Juggling the microphone and a champagne flute, Skylar echoes the sentiment. "To Darian Vance, our leader, the first time traveller. Woohoo!" They clink glasses and drink. "I thank you, my friends," says Vance as he looks straight into Skylar's camera. "You've been amazing in assisting me in building my time machine. My great invention." Those words prompt Skylar's lips to thin, but she doesn't contradict Vance. Your enemy goes on, his ridiculous good looks and earnestness on full display as he takes credit for all your insights and hard work. What a horrible person. Emotion bubbles up inside you. Jealousy. I am wildly envious of how great Vance looks and sounds on camera. Hope. Could you get Skylar on your side and learn how to come here outside of the time windows? Curiosity. Did these three come here to study dinosaurs? Or rage. I'd love to march over to Vance and cuss him out, ending with, "And the time machine you rode..." In what? Hey? Rage. I'd love to march over to Vance and cuss him out, ending with, "And the time machine you rode in on." What? I don't understand that sentence. Never mind. I would be probably filled with rage. I'm not going to be there in the Cretaceous when my nemesis turns up and just be like, "Damn, you look so good." Possibly hope for getting Skylar on side, but again, it's going to be more raging. Curiosity. It doesn't really matter their motives. So yeah, we're going with rage. Even if I can't pronounce that sentence correctly. Until this moment, you never knew what it meant when people talked about seeing red or being so angry they couldn't see straight. This is it. How dare he? Wasn't it enough that Vance humiliated you? That he got you kicked out of college? That he ruined your life? Time travel is the one thing that you've managed to achieve, and here he is, usurping the credit. You think about wrapping your hand around the gun. Not that you would ever. "Lindsay, don't do anything rash," Brett whispers. "Take a breath. I mean it. Take a breath. That's it. And another one. Good. We won't let him get away with this, I promise you." Brett's eyes are earnest. You have every right to be angry. But for now, we have to stop and think what to do. That's sensible advice, even if Vance's treachery is hardly something that you can set aside at the drop of a hat. Brett hands you some binoculars, so you can observe them more closely from your hideaway behind the tree. The three of them drain their champagne flutes, and Vance pours himself another. Meanwhile, Skylar pans slowly with the video camera, lingering on Vance, the RV, and their Cretaceous surroundings. Casey's looking up and down the game trail, and at the ground for animal tracks and droppings. You mull over a crucial decision. Is now the time to march up to Vance, catching him off guard, so that you can confront him openly and on camera about all his spurious claims? That's an intriguing thought, especially if you can set out the engineering details in a clear, matter-of-fact manner that he'll find impossible to refute. On the other hand, maybe finesse would be a better approach. How good are you at layering a clever trap that would ensnare someone who lacks sufficient knowledge to construct a time machine, or who's ignorant of the key principles of temporal physics? Given the possibility of encountering more Cretaceous predators, you might not want to stray too far from your own vehicle without a gun, even one loaded with blanks. However, you're not so sure about letting Vance know you're here just yet. It may be smarter to keep hiding while you figure out whether this could be an opportunity to gather evidence against him, secretly learn more about time travel, or even watch your potential new film star in action. Lastly, you're keenly aware that Darian Vance isn't used to being crossed, which may make him dangerous and unpredictable. Plus, you're outnumbered 3-2. You could sneak away with Brett before any of them spot you, or figure out that you're here. You'll get a decent workout from pushing the Land Rover far enough away that they won't hear when you start up the motor and keep heading downstream. This feels like it's going to be the biggest decision in the whole book. So, do we confront Vance directly on camera and refute his spurious claims? Do we trick Vance into revealing on camera that he stole my invention? Don't tip my hand, hide and surreptitiously film Vance and his cohorts? Or for safety, I'll slip away with Brett before Vance and company spot us. Oh, drunk driving in the Cretaceous. I don't think you can be pulled over for that, so go for it. 3 or 4 are the best of these, I think. Like, I feel that we want to get revenge on him as well, but we don't want to necessarily do it straight away. I mean, if we do follow them or something, I'm sure that we can gather evidence about them as well. Or what's more important, doing the stuff in the Cretaceous or proving ourselves right? If you were even, like the second person to go time traveling, then that is huge news. Can you get home first and release your time travel announcement before he does? I think maybe let's keep options open. We can confront him, we can trick him, we can do everything later down the line. I think don't commit at this stage. Giving yourself away to Darian Vance strikes you as beyond foolish. He could use your presence here against you in half a dozen ways that haven't even occurred to you. So, do we stealthily work my way closer, hoping to capture my enemy's lies on film? Do we shoot from afar, evaluating how to use Vance's considerable charisma? Or do we climb into the trees to get closer to Vance and Skylar while they discuss time travel? Well, they all seem fairly similar. We're still going to be filming them, whatever way. But how do we approach? I kind of feel like maybe the trees, and because it'd be useful to see that Vance has absolutely no clue of how to do anything with time travel. But then, I think we need the audio. The audio is going to be the giveaway. So I'm going to go with that one. You'll be damned if you'll go to them, hat in hand, begging to learn how they made the conceptual breakthrough that led them to flaunt the seemingly rigid time windows. And yet you have to find out. This tactic seems foolproof. It sure does, eh? They're absolutely not expecting you and probably wouldn't think to look overhead anyway, unless they can hear all the pterosaurs. You try to climb the tree, but find the limbs too far out to reach, nor are there any hanging vines capable of taking your weight. Instead, you opt to stay on the ground, to Brett's relief, and watch what you can. Skylar is returning from the rear of the RV, looking relaxed and confident. You don't hear enough of the conversation to learn any of their secrets. Meanwhile, Casey is headed off up the game trail in search of who knows what. Movement along the side trail, which runs into the main one, catches your eye. A scale-covered triangular head thrusts aside the sword-like leaves. What first looks like dirty white stripes running the length of the mud-coloured quadruped resolve into row upon row of knobs and spikes protruding from its armour-plated hide. Barely chest height, this beast is built like a low-slung, scale-covered tank, with a serious club at the end of its tail. Snuffling and snorting, it reaches the intersection with the main trail, in effect cutting Casey off from Vance and Skylar. The dinosaur turns towards Casey, who is sitting down, intent on examining and collecting samples, paying no attention to his surroundings. In fact, you're the only one who has spotted the armoured dinosaur. The way the trail curves hides it from those at the RV. An Ankylosaurus, you whisper into the microphone. As you zoom in with your GoPro. Do GoPros zoom in? I don't think GoPros zoom in. You add, who knew that it would turn out to be the spitting image of the love child of an armadillo and a tank? All joking aside, this is a potentially serious development. Even if the creature is a herbivore, the Ankylosaurus isn't accustomed to humans, and may not react well to one intruding into its territory. Casey is carrying no visible weapon. In fact, you have no idea if any of them brought weapons, or if they might panic and do something dumb. You consider shouting a warning to Casey. Are you willing to blow your cover? It seems likely that anyone who's a decent shot enough ought to be able to drive away the beast. If you stay hidden right where you are, you could point your camera at this solitary, fierce-looking dinosaur. There's no assurance that you'll ever get another crack at doing so. Lastly, the Ankylosaur can serve as the perfect diversion if you're in reasonably good shape and in a risk-taking mood. When will you ever have another chance to creep up to the RV's rear window and peer inside at whatever incriminating evidence Vance left lying around? So, again, it's big decision time. So, are we going to fire a blank to scare off the Ankylosaur? Use my theatrical training to shout a warning to Casey? Theatrical training? As in, like, what, you're just good at projecting your voice, or are we going to intimidate another dinosaur or something? I couldn't have asked for a better subject for my film. Or while the Ankylosaur distracts them, look in the window for evidence of Vance's theft. Ooh, morals. Yeah, the choices are really similar. I wonder if the theatrical training means you'll pretend to be a dinosaur. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. What is more important in this? Getting evidence or saving someone's life? Do we know that they're in trouble? Can we... Oh, there's so many different ways that this would happen. If we fired a blank, would we be able to run off, or would our cover be blown? If we're shouting, are we shouting a warning, or are we pretending to be a dinosaur? If we are filming, are we filming the dinosaur? Do we have another option to stop it if it gets hairy? Or if we're in the window looking for evidence of theft? I don't like it. 1 or 2, I think he will owe his life. And on camera. Right, okay, let's do... Okay, 1 or 2. I think if we do 1, it will get everyone's attention. And we could just hopefully run away. Yes, it means giving yourself away, but this is the most effective way. Who knows, maybe the only way to protect Casey. There's no time to lose. Nervous, you load your gun and pull the trigger. Nothing happens. You peer at the gun, which is difficult to see in the dim light beneath the canopy. You fumble for the safety, uncertain about which way it is on and which way it's off. You press the trigger again. It fires. Unfortunately, the dinosaur has gotten so close that your warning shot throws the massive beast into a panic. It charges straight at Casey. How did you manage to botch something so simple? Thankfully, Casey has the presence of mind to duck and roll out of the way before the charging Ankylosaur can trample him. Who knew it could move that fast? It goes crashing off through the undergrowth while everyone stares in your direction. You emerge from hiding and try to explain yourself. To no avail. Casey is understandably furious with you. Skylar gives you an appraising look and says, yes, of course it would make the trip. You would make the trip. Sorry, I've got my cat sat right in front of the monitor. It's probably going to be purring into the microphone as well. Absolute pest, aren't you? Skylar gives you an appraising look and says, yes, of course, you would make the trip. What you hadn't predicted is Darian Vance's reaction. He turns to Casey and rather pointedly says a few words in your defense. Meanwhile, Brett looks on, not exactly comfortable with these developments. Surprised and ill at ease, you spin on your heel and get out of there fast, with Brett trailing behind. You drive away, neither of you saying a word, as you follow the river, which grows swifter and louder, breaking into rapids. By and by, you come to the top of the waterfall. Mist rises from a good 100 feet below you. Glittering, frolicking, darting in and out of the mist, and its rainbows are 4 or 5 pterosaurs. Oh god. We're not going to kill them, are we? The ostrich-necked flyers bear head crests sweeping backwards as they tilt their pointy beaked heads up and down. Great wings gleaming iridescent in the sunlight. The tailless creatures rise and circle and swoop with cries of delight. So they've got iridescent, wings. That's quite fancy. You immediately recognise these beauties to be the same species that you saw yesterday morning across the lake. Their neat perches precariously on rocks jutting out from the opposite shore above the falls. Except this is a larger family unit. A passel of little ones poke their heads over the rim of the nest, intent of watching the marvellous antics of their parents. Putting aside thoughts of Vance and Casey and Skylar, you watch the adults circle a few feet above the nest as they call encouragement to their offspring, who flap their little wings, doing adorable imitations of their parents. It dawns on you that the 4 adults are trying to teach the little ones to fly. This will be perfect for my documentary. What could be better for a heartwarming nature film? They're so skittish that I just want to watch and whisper into my recorder. I think... Yeah, I know, right? This didn't go any way that I thought it would. Yeah. And this is what always happens. You make any decision in a computer game and it just does not go the way that you thought it would. So, 1, perfect for the documentary, and I exist. I agree entirely. Achievement, fledglings in flight to record the baby pterosaurs. Ooh. While Brett watches, eyes sparkling with enchantment, you get out your best video gear and start filming. Eventually, the young ones fling themselves into the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Your heart's in your throat as they plummet into the mist. Moments later, they emerge, all 5, soaring on an updraft, uttering cries of triumph. If only you could spend all day watching them glide in and out of the mist, playing a mad mashup of Follow the Leader and Hide and Seek. When they gain altitude, their pale, leathery wings gleam in the sunlight. Pale wings? I thought they were iridescent. Leaving the waterfall at last, you and Brett continue to trace the river downstream, coming to a broad, treeless plain where you won't need to fear predators hiding behind every oversized fern and ginkgo. There you make camp. That evening, after dinner, you review your film from earlier in the day. Do you look for clues as to how Vance and company succeeded in arriving at 10:42 AM? My best work is the initial shot of the ankylosaur parting the leaves, or I put together a voiceover for my science documentary. Well, 2 and 3 don't really do anything. I mean, all you're doing is looking at how beautiful the ankylosaur is, and you can do a voiceover at home, so I think 1. Yep, 1, we're in agreement. Yeah, it happens to me all the time. Choices go awry. Yeah, they totally do. Their feat genuinely puzzles you. You replay the opening segments of today's film. Nothing strikes you anew. Then again, it's late. Time for bed. You pack away your gear and get ready to turn in. Brett sits by the fire, having insisted on taking first watch. You lie down to get some sleep, your head crammed full of intriguing notions. Your thoughts keep circling back to Brett, Casey, Skylar, or Darian Vance. Oh, who are we thinking about? I think maybe we could open the love option with Brett. But the other two, Casey, how did Casey get the time machine working? Is that the biggest thing, or are we still filled with rage at Darian? Why would we worry too much about little chubby Skylar? I don't... I mean, might not even be romance. Maybe just thinking about Brett, see if he's alright. Maybe one of those choices at least. 2 or 3 seem redundant. Oh, we've already done that one. So we've got this 30-second time delay. So I'm gonna wait. It's on you, this one, because I don't know. I mean, if it was me, I'm probably still gonna be raging at the fact that they've actually turned up. Yeah, and then pondering whether either of those 2 other ones could be convinced to come and spend. Convinced to come to your side. Yeah, Skylar is the one who isn't really important. No. Poor Skylar. They'd be useful on your trip. You should have invited them. I mean, Darian Vance already knew that you had a time machine. You weren't giving anything away. I'd be probably furious about Vance too. Right, Vance. Raging. You toss and turn, unable to get comfortable. The prospect of sleep farther from you than your own time period. Your mind races through a million scenarios in which Vance has the upper hand. His wealth, his connections, his charm ensure that good things will always come easy for him. Those are reason enough to despise the man, and yet you have no intention of giving up and letting him win. Here, in the past, such advantages don't count, or rather, they don't count for as much. Here, you two are more on equal footing. What lies ahead for both of you in the Cretaceous is unknowable. As you've already discovered, there are no do-overs. Never have been, never will be. At 3 a.m, you tell yourself for the 100th time that you need your sleep if you want to deal effectively with your enemy tomorrow, and the next day, and however many days he's here. Ooh, it's a short chapter. Well, looks like it rolls on till Monday. Well, thank you very much for joining. It has been very useful having you here, and I'm sure everyone's going to catch up this stuff online on just on YouTube, normal video. So we will leave it for tomorrow. How many more chapters can there be? I mean, surely next chapter is just going to wrap it up. T.rex turns up, tries to eat Darian Vance, we save him, or we don't, and then it's over, and we go home. Surely that is it. But for this one, yeah, short one, thanks for joining, and I will see you tomorrow for the next chapter.